What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Who You Got With.
Mellow.
And Rado is a sports podcast where we talk about your favorite sports matchups, sports debates, and sports highlights. And we got a hell of a sports matchup. It's Super Bowl week, and I'm here to talk with it. My man Mello, want to talk to you about it. How you been, man?
Man, we can't get any better than this. Super Bowl weekend.
Yes, baby.
We all been waiting for all the marbles. Took us what? 17 weeks, 32 teams, four
Mhm.
playoff weeks just to get here. And obviously we're hella excited. Bengals versus Rams.
Ooh, what
Man,
a matchup. What a matchup. And you know I'm excited because, of course, my team, the Rams, I've been a fan since, I would say, like early 2000, really. I've been a fan since then. So I've been waiting for them to keep getting back into the Super Bowl. Now, being there in LA, they're playing the game in LA. This is going to be a hell of a matchup. Los Angeles Rams versus Cincinnati Bengals.
hey, and that's what we're here for, man. First full season covering the sport, and we got through the whole NFL season, and what a hell of a whirlwind we got to get to Bengals versus Rams. I mean, a lot of people honestly would have picked a few other teams over the Rams in the NFC, especially in the playoffs. Like a lot of people already didn't even
Yeah,
have them winning against the 49ers or the Cardinals. But a lot of other teams were supposed to be in that AFC Championship uh,
for sure.
against the Chiefs, but it was the Bengals, and the Bengals even bested the Chiefs. And right now, obviously, a lot of people in that AFC are definitely salty, uh, not being able to make the Super Bowl. But hey, no one could do nothing about none of that. Bengals versus Rams, they got there, we got here. That's why we're here, and
That's
it just
true.
can't get better than Super Bowl weekend, man.
Hell yeah, and I mean, we definitely, we're gonna talk about the Super Bowl game itself, but we definitely wanted to focus a little bit, in the beginning about the road to the Super Bowl and how these teams, got there. Obviously, it was a tough road for both these teams, but we just want to go, look back at the playoffs and see how they did and what they did to get to where they are now. So you want to go ahead and get into it, get into the
Uh,
wild card.
to get into it, I would say each team, neither one of these teams got the first round bye, so both of these teams had to play three games to get to the Super Bowl. And obviously, let's just go in and talk a little bit about how these teams did, how they pretty much got here. I'm gonna
Uh,
go over the Bengals and their matchups.
right.
Clearly, Boy Rado's got
And I'm gonna
Rams.
have to go with my Rams, of course. If y'all can't see me on the podcast, I am all drenched out in my Rams gear. I have to be. I got to support my team, but I'm definitely excited to talk about their run too.
Exactly, and they both had really good runs. Every game
Very
was
good.
in its own way. So let's just get right into it. Start off with the first wild card weekend. First actual game of wild card weekend
It was.
was Eagles versus Raiders. A lot of people had that as such an even game. Some people had the Raiders winning. They were such on a hot start. The Bengals looked like they were kind of slowing down to what was a hot start to the season. And obviously, no one knew what they brought to the table when it came to consistency. So they ended up winning 26-19 over the Raiders, and that actually came down to the last play of the game, where the Cincinnati Bengals defense not only stood up against the Raiders, but also your boy got a pick
Hmm.
on the last play. Was basically if it wasn't a touchdown, it was over.
Over, yeah.
So it was a tough playoff game for both teams. Tough playoff drought ended for the Bengals itself.
True. That's
Obviously,
true.
that was just the beginning of a big road for them. Your boy Joey B, 24 for 34, 244 yards, two touchdowns, no turnovers. Uh, Chase showed up, nine receptions for 116 yards. Uzuma got six for 64 and a touchdown. And like I said, defense stepping up not only in the last drive, but also in the last play, forcing that interception. Just kind of lets you go, just a good start to tough win. Lets you know exactly what type of team this was going to be. You at least got an idea. And like I said, we didn't know about consistency, but hey, a win to win. And 26-19 win over the Raiders was the first win for the Bengals in this postseason. What about the Rams?
And that was a good win for the Bengals for sure, and it was good for obviously the Bengals getting their first win in a long time. And speaking of their first wins, the Rams, I mean, going into the playoffs, obviously this is Stafford's first year on a Rams uniform. He played in Detroit, and for him, obviously he was trying to get his first playoff win as well. So the first wild card they had, we had to play the Arizona Cardinals, who were in our own division. You know, we played them twice, and we went 1-1 with them in the, in our divisional games. But then we had to play them in the playoffs, and obviously a lot of people thought coming into that game that was going to be a crazy offensive thriller. You know, Arizona had one of the best offenses going in. Obviously, they had a few pieces that they lost in that game or that they didn't have playing in that game, like J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins. But, they're stacked all over everywhere else. They had good running backs. And the Rams, we were just able to outplay them in every single facet of the game. Stafford had 3 touchdowns, through a prolific game. We had a really good running game as well. Our special teams played really good. We got a fake punt on the Arizona Cardinals. We also got an interception return for a touchdown, which was great. So we played on all facets of the game in that game. We really showed like what we've been trying to show all season. I really believe that wild card game was one of the best games that we played all season, especially in a game against a tough team like the Arizona Cardinals. Because I mean, I really think that everyone thought that game was going to be a thriller. And a lot of people had Arizona really beating the Rams because nobody really trusted Stafford at that point. But I'm glad that, he was able to get, his first playoff win. And it was a tough playoff win because, the Cardinals are tough out. Even if they didn't have a full team, full 100% there, DeAndre Hopkins was out, like I said. So their number one receiver isn't there. They still had everyone else there. But they weren't able to even keep close with us. And we were able to beat them on all facets of the game. And I saw a prolific performance by Stafford during that game. So I was very proud of what I saw for that first wild card game. And he was able to get his first playoff win.
No, definitely a lot of firsts. Obviously, the first playoff game for teams, quarterbacks, people in general, and obviously a lot of cobwebs to get out. I definitely remember looking at that game specifically, and yeah, the Rams beat the bricks off the Cardinals.
34-11, yeah.
It was honestly on defense.
Mm-hmm.
It was a disgusting showing on defense, and I remember thinking like, yeah, the Rams are serious. Yeah. So yeah, 100%.
Overall, like perfect, almost perfect game that you can have, like playing on all facets of the game. That's the type of game you want to have as a team,
especially against a team that's supposed to be that all offensive. It's that much of an offensive threat. No, 100%. So they both got wins. One was a tough win, one wasn't. And we can definitely agree on that. But hey, wild card out the way.
Let's one was against a tough opponent.
Exactly. So now, next week, we got Bengals versus number 1 seed Titans, and your boy Derrick Henry is back.
Yeah.
We're talking about them. That means the Bengals won, in case you didn't know. 19-16 win over the Titans. Now, that was a statement game for Joey B. Because while he spread the ball around, he couldn't find a way to throw a touchdown. They couldn't score really. It was a low-scoring game, but he still had to find a way to keep the ball moving. 28 for 37, 348 yards. He threw a pick. Obviously, like I said, he just wanted to keep the chains moving. And even though he didn't get no touchdowns, to be able to pull out a win like that, when you get sacked 9 fucking times,
you would think.
Effort. Like, there's no way you tell me he got sacked 9 times and won that game.
Yeah. So you would think you would lose with 9.
Literally. Yeah, it makes no sense. But that's what I'm saying. Even though he couldn't score no TDs, got sacked 9 times, he still found a way to throw for 348 yards and keep the chains moving and keep the game competitive. That's why he really did his thing. Of course, Chase was getting chased. 5 receptions for 109 yards. At this point, 2 games deep, nobody could check this man like they couldn't check him all season. Higgins stepped up, 7 receptions for 96. Of course, Uzuma still coming through, 7 receptions for 71. But the real story of the game was the Bengals defense. Like I said, first game they came to a statement stop at the last quarter, last drive, last play. This time, not only did they held King Henry to basically was a decent 60-something yardage game. They also got 3 picks.
Yeah.
So pretty much that all that defensive output in a 3-point game, in a game where your quarterback gets sacked 9 times,
Yeah.
a lot of it has to come down to you.
Yeah.
Once again, it comes down to the last possession, clock running out. Put the ball on McPherson's foot per se, and pretty much he's just showing that he's serious. And like in the postseason, it's coming down to a lot of kicks. And like if that was his, all right, we're going to the AFC Championship, boys. So right there, defense is really showing confidence, holding its own. Offense is finding a way to get the ball moving, whether or not they're scoring or not. And obviously, when it comes down to close games, you probably got a really, really reliable kicker who not only he thinks he knows he's a reliable kicker. So right now, 19-16 win over the Titans. They're going to the AFC Championship, and the Bengals are looking pretty good.
Yeah, and not only a reliable kicker, but a rookie kicker at that, and a guy that they drafted, which not most teams draft a kicker. And I remember watching that game, and I was very impressed by Joe Burrow, the way he was able to, pass the ball around to everyone. He only missed 9 passes that game, and even though, like, obviously they didn't score a lot of touchdowns because both of these teams were really good on the goal line defense, so they weren't able to score touchdowns, but came down to the last possession, and you saw what he can do in that last possession. And speaking of last possessions, the Rams game where we had to play in our divisional round, this was, I would say, one of the toughest games of the divisional round. I mean, we were playing, obviously, Tampa Bay. Playing Tampa Bay is not an easy task. Obviously, they were the Super Bowl champion the year before, so they got arguably the best quarterback ever to play the game, and a guy that's definitely up there for MVP talks in this season, and Tom Brady. Him at 44 years old, being up there for MVP talks is amazing for him. So definitely give him some crazy props. I just thought that, this game was a really tough game for us to play. Both of these teams, you knew that they had high-powered offenses. It was who was going to be able to stop the other team. And honestly, during the first half, we played amazing. We were able to come out 20-3, real quick, and we were playing really good. Honestly, we got an interception on Tom Brady that, not a lot of people. He doesn't throw that many picks early in the game. Obviously, it's usually late in the game if he does throw picks. Early in the game, it's tough for him to throw a pick, and we were able to get one from him. We were playing him very tough early on. They weren't able to get much running on us, and that's why we were able to keep them, pretty tight game. But then in the second half, we started fumbling the ball a little bit. We had a few fumbles that we let go of. Our wide receiver fumbled it, and then also Cam Akers fumbled it in the fourth quarter. And that's what was really able to give Tom Brady, we gave him the ball like literally 3 times in a row within an 8-minute span in the third and fourth quarter, between like the third and fourth. And that's how he was able to get 3 touchdowns in a row on us in that fourth quarter. And obviously, once he was able to tie up the game, the only thing that came down to was who was going to get that last possession. And honestly, I was so surprised and very happily surprised by Stafford. He was able to move the ball down the field. And obviously, you got to give some props to our kicker, too, because our kicker's been doing some really good work all season. And, this was a pressure kick. Playing in Tampa Bay, we didn't have home field advantage either. We're playing in Tampa Bay, playing against a guy on the other side that's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and a guy that's won more Super Bowls than anyone else in the NFL. So it was going to be a tough game for us, but we came out on top. And honestly, for the Rams, one thing I could say that we're the last team that Tom Brady played, and we're the reason why he retired. He played Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald got a little sack on him at the end, and he was like, "Nah, I don't want to play that man no more." No, let me stop. No, I am happy that, I was mad at Tom Brady in the early 2001. He beat my Rams in a Super Bowl. But now I'm happy that at least the last game that he played against was us, and we were able to kick him out of the playoffs. So I am it's a little bit of revenge right there, a little bit of sweet revenge. And we were able to move on to the NFC Championship game, playing a crazy tough game.
Nah, so right there, both teams are showing a lot of grit, a lot of versatility, coming back, and obviously overcoming odds to get
Yeah.
to the championship games in both conferences. So definitely could see how both teams got to where they are, and obviously one more game to get them to where they're at. And let's just go right into it. The AFC Conference Championship was a goddamn thriller, man.
That Cincy game, probably one of the best games in the playoffs, I would say.
Yeah, to me, it was the second best
Yeah.
behind
Yeah.
the Bills versus Chiefs.
Chosen. Yeah, that's a great
Um,
one.
and that's just our competitive nature.
Right.
Best to see, like honestly, like I promise you, watching the Rams defense dismantle the Cardinals in that first game was like I was at the bar just so
That was
so happy
beautiful.
to watch that. Like,
That
yeah,
was
so that
beautiful
was a
to
good
watch.
thing to
Yeah.
see, but it wasn't competitive.
Right.
But competitive, come on, 27-24 overtime win over the Chiefs for the Bengals to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. Once again, man, these young boys are hungry, man. Joey B and the Stripes had a classic showing, man. He had 23 for 38, 250 yards,
Mm-hmm.
two touchdowns and a pick. Obviously, it was a tough game going. I wasn't gonna say going back and forth, but it actually really wasn't. They
Not the
started
first,
off
second half.
bad, and
Right.
the Chiefs won up 21-3.
Yeah.
Bengals are struggling. The Chiefs seem to find a way to lock Chase down for the first time all postseason. 6 receptions for 54 yards, even though he did get a TD. That allowed a lot of space and a lot of openings for Higgins. 6 receptions for 103 yards. So Joe still found a way to keep his cool,
Right.
get the ball movement, and then relying on their run game for a good portion of not only the win. I want to say the win because he got 88 yards, your boy Mixon. But that last drive where the Bengals pretty much marched down the field came to a big part of them running. They just was able to get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yards when they
Right.
needed to every time they get their hands on the ball that last drive. And obviously they got in field goal range. So like I said, didn't look good for Cincy early, but the offense stepped up, defense stepped up, kicker stepped up. That's just been the story for them all postseason. Uh, 21-3 down, they come in the offense, and Joe and company score 21 unanswered points,
Not bad.
basically in a 24-21 game. The defense held the Chiefs scoreless all second half until the field goal the last couple minutes for the 24-24 tie to take it into overtime. So like I said, offense stepped up, defense stepped up. Defense stepped up all second half. Everyone thought it was over once Mahomes got the coin toss. Defense stepped up again,
Yep.
got an interception. This is literally what the Bills are supposed to do. The Bills are supposed to, the top defensive league, you're supposed to get a stop.
Yeah.
The defense and the Bengals came out trash first half, buckled down, basically played damn near perfect the second half and in overtime. They give the ball back to Joe. Joe and mostly Mixon march, walk down the field, put it in top 3 kicker in the league, ice in his veins. I'm pretty positive. My man looked his coach in the eye and said, "We're going to the Super Bowl" before he walked off the field. There ain't no
Yeah.
way. No
Confident.
way.
Boy, confident.
He's confident. So right there, man, the Chiefs just didn't come through. The Bengals showed that they can compete and they're not scared and they're confident and they're gonna give it their all on all sides of the ball, man. And honestly, they're looking good, man. 3 wins over 3 good teams to get into the Super Bowl. Like I said, offense, you got Joe, you got Chase, you got Mixon. Hopefully Uzumah's coming back for the Super Bowl. We'll see. Higgins, that's a great offensive core. Defense, you got good secondary and Apple and Bell. Pratt, Wilson, Hubbard down front. It's a great core as well.
Mm-hmm.
Top 3 kicker. Your coach has been presenting some good schemes all year. Obviously, you're very explosive on offense, so you got any potential to come down from almost 2, 3 score games. And then you got the biggest intangible in the NFL besides Mahomes right now, which is Joe Joey. Like that boy is he's a winner. Like, I mean, he's not the best quarterback, but like there's not many other quarterbacks if you got the game on the line or just a game on the line you want to put in that position. So he's a winner. He's selfless. We love to see it, man. And the Bengals are sitting in the Super Bowl, and that's how they got there.
Hey, and Joe Burrow definitely a winner already, and I mean he always was. I mean he did win a national championship, and interesting for him to be in the Super Bowl because not many national championship quarterbacks get into the Super Bowl and are able to win
After
it.
their full year too.
And that too, especially after their because this is his first full year. I mean, obviously last year he was out 8 games. He was only able to play 6, I believe. Or yeah, he was actually out 10 games. He was only able to play 6. So great for them. And I'm actually surprised that one thing that surprised me is you called their kicker a top 3 kicker already as a rookie kicker. But you know what? I think I have to agree with you. Like he's been playing like amazing all season. Their kicker. There was a few games where they were close this season where they were tied up and then he had to make the kick in the final seconds. So he's definitely been playing like
it's not hard to set yourself above others as a kicker.
Yeah, you just have to make it into tough spots, like literally at the end of the game and when you're tied up. Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, another thing, again, kickers, man, that's going to be a good transition point for me to talk about the Rams because I mean, honestly, that's the way we were able to win our game in the 49ers. Obviously, it came down to the end of it, and it was a field goal kick that we won. We obviously played the 49ers. For those that didn't know, we beat the 49ers. Obviously, I'm talking about the Rams. We played the 49ers again. This is another team that was in our division, and we played them twice.
Ooh.
And we lost both times early in the season. And the last 6 times that we played them, we lost 6 times. They beat us every single time the last 3 years. So coming into this game, a lot of people did have 49ers as possibly it was a pick'em game or a slight favorite as the 49ers just because the Rams were at home. They had them at 3 points, but usually Vegas gives you that three points whenever you're at home. So it was pretty much a pick'em game. And I mean, coming into that game, I definitely thought it was we were gonna play a little bit better offense, but starting out, we really didn't. Stafford played really good. I thought he played really well in the first half. His receivers didn't really play quite as well. There was a few missed catches, 2 actually that could have went for touchdowns. One by Cooper Kupp right in the middle where he was like running down the middle, and it looked like he was just gonna outrun the safety. And he was looking forward and he wasn't able to get in his hands. And then the other one to our 4th wide receiver Kendricks, who was in the end zone looking back at the ball. It was a perfect pass. It was going to drop in his hands and it just hit his fingertips. He wasn't looking down at the ball this time. He was looking backwards. So two touchdown plays that didn't go our way, and that's definitely a reason why San Francisco was able to to keep it very close with us in the first half and was able to take that lead, especially in the first half. But I thought we played amazing defense on them in the first half because that they're a running team, the 49ers that is, and I thought we played really great defense. I really thought that they were going to do a lot more running, but they didn't. They started doing a lot more wide receiver screens and running back screens. So we played them perfectly. We played a zone defense where we were able to keep 2 guys on Deebo Samuel and have a middle linebacker on their tight end, and our middle linebacker is Von Miller, so he's, I would say, the best middle linebacker in the league. There's nobody better, especially at coverage. I mean, he's probably one of the best at doing both coverage and going in for a sack, but as far as like coverage, he can cover a guy like Kittle, even though Kittle's one of the best tight ends. But I'm really impressed by the Rams' run defense, and this was a huge deal for us in the other 2 games when we played 49ers, and we were able to stop them, and that's huge because honestly, looking at this Rams team this whole year, like it's always like we're playing one facet of the game good or one facet not. Like during the regular season, we had like probably 6 or 7 games where our offense was like top notch. But we still had like a top 10 defense, but our defense wasn't stepping up. But now looking at it in the playoffs, like we had a really consistent game on all sides. We showed what we can do. Then the second game, we had a great consistent game on offense. And now this game, we showed a really consistent game on defense. And you saw what we can do on defense, especially the running defense. We were able to get stops. We were able to also get a turnover at the end when we needed to, and that was obviously the game sealer when we were able to sack Garoppolo in the end when he was trying to come back. It was a 2017 game at that time. He still had like 3 minutes left to be able to come back, but he couldn't do it. He threw the ball as he was being sacked, and it was an interception, and that's how we sealed the game. But this game, we definitely were able to play our defensive game. And now seeing these playoffs, I'm so impressed in what I'm seeing with the Rams offensive scheme, defensive scheme. Even our special teams are playing really good. Matt Gay, our kicker, has been playing really well as well. And I definitely think he's going to be a big part of whatever happens next with us. But I mean, we got guys on all sides of the ball. Obviously, Matt Stafford, this is his first year, but we got the number one wide receiver as far as stats goes in the NFL right now, Cooper Kupp, who's over 2,000 yards if you add the playoffs. He's at like 2,096 or 2,150 right now with playoff yards. So, he's been playing amazing. Actually, excuse me, I made a mistake. He's at 2,250 right now yards, which is incredible. It's a record already that he's beaten. Obviously, there was an added game this year, but I mean, we got other guys like Odell Beckham. Obviously, he came in the middle of the season, coming in from Cleveland, and we've also picked up other guys like Von Miller. We literally tried to stack this team. We put so much into this team. We also got Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. We got obviously Aaron Donald, who's been playing incredible. Our running game has been playing really well. We just got Cam Akers back, who's our rookie running back, who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. This was his first week back playing in the NFC Championship game. So him playing in the Super Bowl, he's got a few more weeks to recover. We also got Sony this year coming England, who was another pickup. So we picked up guys from all different teams, like guys that other teams didn't really want, but we're still talented. And obviously trying to put them all together into one spot. And this year it just came out. I mean, we really were able to like settle in, especially towards the end of the year. We were on an upswing, and that's why we were able to get to the Super Bowl, honestly. And I think that we had one of the toughest roads to get to the Super Bowl. It was such a tough road playing a team in the Arizona Cardinals, who people thought was probably the most offensively talented team, then going in and playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were the Super Bowl champions and had Tom Brady on their team, and then going and playing the 49ers, who most people would say they're the toughest team to play in the playoffs. Obviously, they beat Dallas, and they beat Green Bay, who a lot of people had as a Super Bowl contender. And we were able to beat the 49ers, who was one of the toughest styles. So I definitely think we had one of the hardest roads to the Super Bowl this year.
Nah, I would agree. Two divisional rivalries and the Super Bowl champs. 100% road.
Plus that one divisional rival, the 49ers, everyone had them as one of the toughest teams to play. Everyone was saying they're the toughest team to play in that.
Twice this year, you lost twice to them this year, so definitely
that too, yeah. But I mean, as far as the Bengals too, they definitely had a tough road. I mean, a lot of people didn't even have them winning against the Raiders, like you said.
Yeah, so, they definitely.
They beat the Chiefs, who nobody really had them winning. So they're definitely been the underdog as well. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, should we talk about it going into the next game? Is the Super Bowl, and I don't know necessarily they're underdogs or not, but let's talk about it. Rams versus Bengals.
Rams versus Bengals. One's the clear favorite. One's the underdog. 100% is no question about it, man.
Do you think it matters a little bit because it's in LA?
Oh, 100%. There's no way they can be 100. There's gonna be like 80% Rams fans.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it matters too a little bit. Second time in NFL history it's happened. Obviously, last year was the first time Tampa Bay played in their own stadium during the Super Bowl. This will be the second time a Super Bowl team is playing in their own stadium.
They better bring the Super Bowl to Buffalo next year then.
Yeah, right.
It ain't coming.
Yeah, right. Not in this cold. They don't want.
No, not at all. So my heart says Bengals. My head says Rams. How much can you trust both teams? Both of them are a little bit inconsistent. One of them is going to fold this coming week. Both have barely survived most of the playoffs. The only difference is that one of them was built to win it all and barely survived. The other one barely could have made it and kind of dragged themselves through. Youth versus experience, not just in the quarterbacks, but the teams.
Very true.
Each quarterback will be tested, and without composure, both of them are prone to make huge and costly mistakes. And this is going to be the biggest game that they ever played.
Yeah.
And you can't say Stafford has more experience because he just got his first playoff win the same day as Joe got his. So at the end of the day, on this stage, they got the same type of experience.
True, on this stage for sure.
Bengals love starting early, while Rams are more set up to turn it up in the second half and come back.
Mm-hmm.
The real biggest difference maker has to be the Bengals O-line versus
man.
Donald, Von Miller, and that front four, front five.
Yep.
So that's just going to be the biggest difference maker all game. Bengals will try to plan to force turnovers, stay patient on defense, and just kind of force Stafford to beat them. Rams will look to put a good game plan together that will stop Chase, make sure he stays in front of them, and obviously they're going to lick their chops and try to do anything they can to get their two stars on the line and Donald and Miller to get their hands on Joe Burrow. Yeah. So, should be a good game. Should be a tough game. I'm going to go 3-point win. 27-24.
Wow. And who you got? Who's the winner? 27-24, but who? You say you're going to go with your heart, not your head, or your head, not your heart.
Gotta go with my head, and I have to say Rams. And I can't explain to you how much I wanted to come on here and say Bengals just because I knew damn well you weren't going to choose them. And I'll be honest. So let me say here, I've been struggling to choose a football team for a few weeks. So I was like, damn, I think I'm about to choose the Bengals. I was like, I need them to lose.
You can't be a bandwagoner.
You can't be a bandwagoner to a team that just made it to the Super Bowl, even if they don't win.
I feel you on that.
They kept winning.
No, you definitely like them all year. You definitely talked about them a lot this year, especially like during our program. You've always
from the watch. He's a winner. They built a good team. They've been building a good team to contend in their division. Like, it's a good organization to be a fan of right now. And I ain't gonna lie, my first favorite player in the NFL was Chad Johnson. Before he changed his name to Ochocinco, and so I did watch the Bengals, but I never actually felt that.
I miss those Bengal teams with Carson Palmer, Chad Johnson, and DJ Ushmanzada. Remember him?
Same thing, exactly. So yeah, no, I definitely love watching the Bengals. So I'm gonna give it one more time to say no, they're not gonna win. And maybe he's saying they're not gonna win is why they keep winning. But I'll be honest, I don't give a damn. I'm buying a damn Joe Burrow jersey next year. Simple as that.
Why not? I'm a fan of the kid too, man. I'm a fan of the kid. He's a beast. He's a winner. Like I said earlier, he's won it. He's won for LSU when he was there, national championship, and obviously he's got his boy with him now in Jamar Chase, who they play together. And honestly, man, this game, I know that I'm going to pick the Rams. I'm going to pick the Rams. Most people, if they've heard us before, they know that I'm a Rams fan. But I'm going to give you guys a breakdown, and I'm going to tell you guys why this game definitely worries me. And I'm not just picking the Rams just because I'm a fan of the Rams. I'm actually picking the Rams because I do think we have a slightly better team than the Bengals at this point.
Slightly.
The Bengals. Well, here's the thing. You were definitely right about the youth versus experience for sure. Like that's a huge thing. But I do think that our defense has a lot more experience. But if you look at skill, I do think skill wise, their defense is almost on the same level as ours, other than the front four. If you're looking at our front four like Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald, then we got them beat for sure. But if you look at they have a pretty decent front four. It's just their back four. They don't have anyone as nearly as good as Jalen Ramsey. But the Bengals have been able to get a lot of turnovers this year. They're one of the top teams in turnovers, points off turnovers, that is. And one thing that always worries me about Stafford is he lets go of those interceptions. You know, he's done that recently, especially just in the regular season. There was a 4-week stretch where he got 4 pick sixes in a 4-week span. So it worries me, but I think that this game is going to be more focused on the Bengals running attack. I do think they're going to try to run the ball more because they know that the Rams are a team that we don't stop the run that well. Our game plan is going to have to be what we played against the 49ers. It's going to be very similar to that. We were able to play that zone coverage against Deebo Samuel, and we're going to have to play that same zone coverage against Jamar Chase. Now, I do think Jamar is a little bit better than Deebo, even though Deebo's a monster. I think Jamar has a little bit more like top flight speed, and he can get behind you easier. And Joe Burrow is able to pass the ball deeper than Garoppolo, obviously. So I do think that's a problem if he's able to get past us in that zone. But I do think that we're going to have to take that same strategy that we played in the 49ers, try to stop the run, take away Joe Mixon out of it, and try to have them beat us with their passing and get a guy like Ramsey on Ramsey versus Chase. That's going to be an amazing matchup, man. I can't wait to see that. I know that Ramsey's going to be talking so much shit, and the guy that Chase is, he loves to talk shit back. So this is going to be a great matchup to watch. Obviously, they got Uzoma, who since he does, you said he might come back this week in the Super Bowl. I think they were going to be able to just take him completely out of the game. I think Von Miller is like the perfect guy, that's especially for a guy coming out of injury. Von Miller's just going to hold him the whole game. He's going to be able to take him out of the game. It's going to be interesting for me to see what happens with OBJ, because I do think that Cooper Kupp is going to get his yards. He's going to get around like 7 to 8 receptions for that 100-yard mark. For me, it's going to be interesting to watch that second wide receiver, because I do think playing in the middle, we got Higbee, our tight end, and Tyler Higbee, and then Odell Beckham Jr. are going to be playing in the middle, trying to get those, down the hash mark yards. And I think that if Odell Beckham has a big game, he honestly could be the X factor. And I do see him getting a touchdown in this game, because I do think that once we get a little bit closer, they're obviously going to put him outside and have him cross in the middle. But I do think that he's going to be able to get like some catches down the middle, and he's going to have some space to be able to run with the ball. So I do believe that a guy like Beckham does get a touchdown in this game. And honestly, I have this game a little bit higher scoring than you had it, because I think both of these teams are offensive firepowers, and I do think we're going to stop their run, so they're going to have to pass it more. And if they score, then we're going to have to come back and score. And I just think that Stafford is going to be able to get the monkey off his back and actually win it in the fourth quarter, like he has been doing this in the playoffs. I mean, if you look at him against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he won in the last minutes of the game. If you look at it against the 49ers, yeah, our defense was able to stop Garoppolo, but right before that, we had to, get the ball down the field to get that field goal, so we can actually lead the game. So I do think that Stafford is going to be big in this moment, and he's going to be able to move the ball down the field in the last minutes of the game. And I do think, like you, I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I have this game 34 to 28, actually. I think it's going to be a one-score game, but we're just going to be able to pull away that one score right at the end. But that's the game. But for me, it's going to be interesting, like also the stats of the games, like how are people going to do? Who do you got as the Super Bowl MVP in this game? Who do you think is going to play the best for the winner? Obviously,
It's always going to be a quarterback, simple as that, because the quarterback is going to
most likely
in the Super Bowl more than likely. And obviously we chose the Rams, so I'm gonna go with Stafford, 26 for 41, 326 yards.
Wow, 326, not bad.
3 throwing touchdowns.
3 throwing touchdowns. Okay, nice. I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's great stats.
3 throwing touchdowns, just for 1.
And rushes for 1, so 4 total.
I think he gets 3. Yeah, all 4 hits.
Yeah,
all 7 points are his.
I like that. I mean, I would love to see him get his, get his trophy. So I'm gonna throw 2 out there, and I mean, one of them is gonna be obvious, and it's gonna be like you. I think that most likely it is gonna be a quarterback. 99 or 95% sure it's gonna be a quarterback, and I have it like you. It's Stafford. I think that he's gonna have 335 yards. I'll say 336. I did have it written down 335, but I'll say 336. So it's not a odd number like that. And I think like you, I got him getting 3 touchdowns. I do think he's going to throw an interception early in the game, but I do got him throwing 3 touchdowns. And I think that's going to win him the MVP. But here's my thing. I think that there could be a scenario in which a guy like OBJ wins the MVP trophy. If he happens to get 2 of those touchdowns that Stafford throws, and let's say he gets around like 120 yards, 25% of the vote does go to the fans. You know, they have to text during the third and fourth quarter. They have to text for who they think is going to be their MVP. So I do think that OBJ is by far the most popular player on either one of these teams, other than maybe Aaron Donald. But social media wise, it's OBJ. So do you think? Can you give me like a guy that if it's not Stafford, if it's not a quarterback, or if it's not Burrow, who do you think could win it if it's not a quarterback?
That'll be Cup with his 133 yards.
I like that. Nice. I like it.
It'll be Cup because he's gonna get that off of the reception.
Yeah. So for me, I think that a guy like OBJ could do it. Yeah, if he gets those 2 touchdowns though.
Especially if Cup got 2 touchdowns and 88 yards in the first half.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially in the first half, you get those 2 tubs. Yeah, people are gonna be texting quick. Yeah. That's gonna be interesting. I'm glad we both got Stafford getting it, and for him, man, I think for me, he's definitely been one of the most talented quarterbacks in his career. He's already passed that 50,000 yard mark. And he's never, obviously this is the first time he's ever been in the Super Bowl, the first 3 playoff games he's won, but it's gonna be, I think for him, it's gonna put him at an elite level if he wins the Super Bowl and then wins the MVP as well.
No, 100%. People don't even realize, but the Super Bowl has damn near been the same 5-6 teams for the last 10 years.
Yeah, you're right.
Honestly, that's all sports. If dynasties come and go, but it's mostly consistent people and consistent teams.
Consistent teams, yeah, especially
having him leave the Lions, and we all knew that he had the skill. We all loved him with Megatron, but it could never translate to wins. So having him come over, it will definitely cement his legacy as the top quarterback.
Definitely. I mean, I think you'll be up there with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who has won. Even though I think Aaron Rodgers might be slightly more talented, I think he's going to be up there with him as far as first ballot Hall of Famer.
But then, Dave, you want to talk about Aaron has been prolific when the man is only one ring,
and hasn't been to the Super Bowl in the last 10 years. Yeah,
you got to give Stafford the same respect, 100%.
For sure, but I mean, I'm gonna be so happy if my Rams win it, and I'm gonna be, very satisfied with our win, especially because it's against a tough team in the Bengals. I mean, not a lot of people had them, but this is gonna bring us to wins against Arizona, Tampa Bay, 49ers, and if we win against the Bengals, and I think that'll be a prolific playoff run, and it's gonna put us as one of the best teams in the last 20 years. I definitely think that we could be seen as that. And, it was great to talk about, too. Great to talk about the Super Bowl episode, and I can't wait to watch it. I'm sure you can't wait to watch it, too. Mm-hmm. And, once it's all said and done, we're going to come back here, and we're going to definitely talk the recap. But I really want to appreciate you guys for listening to this episode of Who You Got with Melo and Rado. And if you want to check us out, on YouTube, if you want to watch the full episode, you can. If you want to listen to us, check us out wherever you get your podcast. And, if you want to ask some questions,
you already know where we're at, man. Obviously, this is pretty much, besides the recap, our last NFL ep. So get ready for full-on NBA.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, we got a lot of good content. Obviously, we're still going to bring you some NFL content off-season. Of
course, we'll still have some off-season topics, here and there. But, the big game is upon us, folks.
Exactly. This is what we've been working all season for, man. And we've been covering every second of it. And I'm glad, that we've been able to do all of it with you guys, with ourselves, with the NFL. Stafford, if you win, give us a little bit of money. You owe us a little bit.
For real. Hook me up. I've been a fan since day one. I've been a day one fan, and I'm honestly, I'm glad, that you guys are getting to enjoy this podcast with us, especially seeing the excitement that we got, or me at least, with my team being in the playoffs. And I'm sure, in the future, the Celtics teams in the NBA, the mellow light still get in there, you know.
I'm a
So
basketball thing, and we're getting right into that
yeah.
subject soon. So
You'll
it's
be happy about your team too. Don't worry, soon enough. But right now, it's all about Cincy and the Rams, and we'll definitely be excited about that game. So again, thank you guys for listening to this episode of Who You Got with
mellow.
and Rado. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.